Hello YouTube, this is Asatsu5 and today I'm reviewing a DVD series from Pantheo Productions. They're a DVD production company that focuses on survival and tactical stuff. And this is the Make Ready series with James Williams, The Edged Weapon, and Continuing Solutions to Edged Weapons. And just to give you a quick bio of James Williams, if you don't know who he is a martial artist. He also teaches executive defense martial arts. He has a dojo, and he designs knives for Colombian River Knife and Tool. And he's a very skilled martial artist. He's studied various martial arts from boxing to judo, Systema, and he feels that the Japanese martial arts are the most efficient. So he kind of quit all the other martial arts to focus on Japanese martial arts. He still does Systema, but Japanese is where he's at. He's enamored by it. And he teaches Kenjutsu, Tanto Jutsu, Aikido Jiu-Jitsu, and this is more or less Tanto Jutsu, which means Tanto art. This is a very modern Tanto Jutsu. It's stuff that you can apply to what you're learning. I had other Tanto Jutsu DVDs, and they teach like how to use a Tanto against a katana or stuff like that. This is stuff that you can use in this day and time. Now, a lot of us have a very Western style of knife fighting. Whether you study the Navaja Caracas, Bowie knife fighting, any kind of fencing like rapier fencing, Apache knife fighting, they're very similar, that in the sense that you're moving your knife a lot, you're sniping at the hands, you're doing snap cuts, chops, you're not really stabbing as much, although there is stabbing involved, and you're more or less a long distance knife fighter. And Japanese martial arts, or Tanto Jutsu, is very different. It's very close and personal. And I like to describe the difference between Western martial arts and Japanese Tanto Jutsu, or Western knife fighting and Japanese Tanto Jutsu. In Western knife fighting, you take what you can get. Someone leaves the opening and you attack it, and then that's it. And it can be a quick jab or a snap cut, or it can be something a little bit more substantial. In James Williams' Tanto Jutsu, I like to describe it as I take what I want. Now, you're still reacting to a stimulus. It's still self-defense. This is not offense. This is self-defense. So the attacker's giving you a target, but instead of cutting at the hands, the wrist, the arm, the legs, with Tanto Jutsu, as James Williams teach it, you're almost always stabbing or cutting to the throat, kidneys, liver, down the clavicle, and basically he's going in for the kill. If he cuts you, there might be one or two quick cuts that might distract or be kind of a redundancy thing, but at the end of it, he's going for the kill. And so an encounter with this type of martial arts is almost always going to have a death involved. With Western knife fighting, with its style, there's a small chance, well, not small chance, there is a chance that you might cut the opponent and they see the blood and they're like, oh crap, I'm getting cut, and they run away. Or there's a chance that since you're fencing, like you're fencing with a rapier or Bowie knife or whatever knife you're using, rapier's not a knife, but you're fencing in much the same way as in a duel. There's a big chance you can get cut, there's a chance that they can get cut, and there's a chance that no one dies, that someone gets cut and runs away. With this, there was no chance to really run away. There was no mercy. And it's very interesting to discuss which one's the better martial art, which one's the most efficient martial art. I think this is much more efficient, but the Western style is definitely a lot more comfortable for a lot of people because they don't want to get too close to the threat. They want to keep the threat as far away as possible. And keep in mind, in self-defense, the main goal of self-defense isn't to kill the opponent. It is to stop the threat. Stop the threat that's happening to you, your loved ones, or the people around you. So it doesn't really matter if you kill the person or not. But in James Williams is almost always a kill. And you can argue the philosophy of both. If I don't have to kill someone, if I cut them and they happen to run away, then I'm okay with that. Versus James Williams is like, well, if I have to bring a knife into it, then that means that they need to die. So it's very interesting. I think one is a little bit more defendable in court, although dead man tell no tales. But there are two very distinct styles, the Western and the Japanese. Now, this DVD is the Building Blocks DVD. They talk about footwork, some concepts, and it's the first level of training. And this is the building blocks that go on top of it, or this is the actual techniques. This has concepts, this has techniques. And what I like about this one, which is my favorite DVD because I like the techniques, is he teaches two things that I think are really relevant and useful. One, if you ever seen the movie Saving Private Ryan, there's a Nazi who is straddling or sitting on the chest or abdomen of a soldier, and the Nazi has his knife like this, and he's pressing down trying to stab the U.S. soldier, and the U.S. soldier is holding the knife like this for as long as possible, hoping that someone helps him. And unfortunately, he doesn't get any help. And basically, the victim's arms give out and he gets stabbed. And it's a very brutal scene. But James Williams teaches what to do in that situation. If you're ever flat on your back and someone's sitting on top of you trying to stab you, he teaches you how you can get out of that situation, which is awesome. There's another situation in this DVD where he teaches what to do if someone has a knife to your throat and they're behind you and they're kind of taking you hostage or mugging you. He teaches how to get out of that situation, which is awesome. So those are two scenarios that are not really taught in Western martial arts that often. You don't really come across that. It's two guys squaring up, going back and forth at each other, but not so much interacting on an intimate level. James Williams, like I said, is a Japanese martial artist. He studies other martial arts, but Japanese is his main focus, and he teaches how to use tantos. This is a traditional modern tanto, as is that one. There's the Americanized tanto, which is what you see mostly from Cold Steel, Benchmade, Korshaw, Gerber, SOG. That's the Americanized tanto. And this blade shape, this is the Osaraku Zakuri. There was also the Shobu Zakuri. There are very different tantos to the Americanized ones. And he teaches how to use the traditional tanto, which are very, let's see, they have neutral handles. They're more point-oriented. You're stabbing with them, although slashing is involved. So he teaches you pretty much how to use this type of knife. They come in different sizes, from what I think is really too small for a tactical knife. It's more of a EDC knife, to all the way to something that's about the size of a wakizashi. And he talks about carrying them and how he likes to carry them, and very, very useful stuff. If you're a Western martial artist or a Western knife fighter, you're going to feel very uncomfortable doing these techniques. But I think they're well worth researching and practicing. And the thing about Western knife fighting and this Japanese style of knife fighting, I think this is more efficient, but I think the Western is a little bit easier to grasp because it's so much more comfortable than this. And I think this requires more practice than the Western knife fighting. And you have to ask yourself, what is the likelihood of me having to use my knife in certain situations? Am I going to be doing more of a dueling Western style, or am I going to be reacting to a mugging? If you're going to be dealing with mugging or hostage situations, I definitely feel James Williams is the way to go, as far as, you know, up close and personal. If someone's trying to intimidate you or mug you from the front, you know, they're attacking you from the front. You can see them, they can see you. Western is not a bad way to go. Again, one is I take what I can get, and it doesn't always end in death, and one is I take what I want, and it usually ends with death. I also believe that James Williams' techniques are far better for military applications as opposed to civilian applications. I think if you're going to be a civilian knife fighter, if that's the thing, I think you're better off with a Western style in certain situations. You can make that decision yourself which one to do, but I think in military or executive defense or anything like that, I think James Williams is superior. But then again, this takes a lot of practice, and it's very uncomfortable to be that close to someone who wants to hurt you. At some points in this style, the person's whole body weight is on top of you, and you're standing. It's not that they're laying on top of you trying to stab you. You're actually gathering and shaping them to a point where they can't attack you, and they have no choice but to lay on you. So it's very, very interesting. These DVDs, I think, are available on Amazon. I really enjoyed these DVDs, especially this one. And I think if you're interested in edged weapons, that they're well worth the money. And it's also worth mentioning that by watching these DVDs, you're not going to be a Tanto Jutsu master. But you're going to have the groundwork and the foundation that can help and work in many situations. So that's it. Again, James Williams, look him up. He's the designer of the Yasatsu, the Otonashi no Ken, the Shimbu, the Hisho, and he's a very knowledgeable guy and very interesting. So that's it. Hope y'all have a great day. I'm Asatsu5, and I'm out.